My thesis for today that I will defend is that the upcoming UNC football head coaching hire, to fill the vacancy left by, as we learned earlier today, Mac Brown being fired, is the most important coaching hire in the University of North Carolina athletics history. Now, I'm talking, let me just set the stage here. I'm not talking about eventual. I'm not talking about, obviously hiring Dean Smith proved to be wildly important, but I'm talking about as you are making the hire, knowing how important it is to put the right guy in that seat. And I would say more so than any basketball hire. And part of that is just because UNC basketball, I do believe, is a little inevitable. You can put the wrong hire in that chair for 3-4 years, try again, and it's still North Carolina basketball.
Matt Doherty.
Yeah. Yep. Football, this particular football hire, though, is wildly, wildly important. It's important to the entire athletic department, more so than it's ever been before. Football in the state of college athletics is driving so much. Your basketball program, when you're talking about conference realignment, media deals, everything else, it's a nice add-on. Oh, and they have very, very good basketball. But football drives everything. It's just the way it is. I don't make the rules, but I can observe the rules. And with football going into a very, very uncertain time over the next 3, 4, 5, 10 years, it is wildly important that UNC nails this hire. UNC is going to be asking for a lot. Bubba Cunningham, the athletic director, put out what I'm calling his manifesto, but it's a article that he wrote on GoHeels.com, straight from the athletic director's computer, he wrote it. It's not him being quoted from an interview. It was his work. And it was illustrating all the ways that UNC was going to be looking for cash. There may be a talents fee attached to ticket prices that'll make the tickets more expensive to those that want to attend UNC games in order to take a portion of that and put it towards the revenue sharing for the players. There's going to be perhaps a different distribution of funds where the sports that make money see a larger part of the budget, while the sports that don't have to get by with as much as they can give, which probably won't be as much. Things like advertisements, advertising logos and things on jerseys. He made it very clear UNC is going to have to raise some money. They're going to have to be hand out in a lot of situations.
Well, you can actually have advertising on fields now, too.
On fields. We're seeing NC State talking about renaming Carter Finley Stadium with some kind of an advertising kick. What do you think advertisers will pay more for? A defending ACC champion coming off an 11-win season, or hey, at least they were bowl eligible and won 6 games? Or even worse, they didn't even make it to a bowl, they won 4 games. UNC is going, what fans? Hey, are you more willing to pay a talent fee on top of the traditional ticket price to see a team that is high-flying, entertaining, putting players in the NFL, winning games, making it to the ACC championship game, allowing you to have bragging rights with your friends who root for other teams? Or are you willing to pay more for that? I would argue most people, yes. UNC is going to be asking for a lot, and you better be good when you ask for that. Not to mention, if in the next 5-10 years there's this rumored super conference that breaks off, you need to be picked. You need to make sure you are one of those draft picks. And if there's a 50, 60, 70-team super conference, I think UNC's picked every time. If there's a 30-team super conference focused on football, maybe. In 10 years, I believe there is going to be a distinct line drawn, and there will be the haves and the have-nots. There will be the teams that are exceptionally funded, the teams that media partners want to spend millions, if not billions of dollars to have on their networks, their streaming services. And then there will be the have-nots. Still run a program, still fill a stadium. Their quarterback's making $400,000 when the haves quarterbacks are making $2 million. And it's very difficult to recruit when they're offering $2 million and you're offering $400,000. So in the meantime, before those changes fully take place, in the transition period, it is wildly important to be good and to have buzz around your program and to have advertisers want to work with your program and to have transfer portal guys want to play for your program, to keep up with your competitors, to keep up with the schools that you want to be peers with. And all of that, I would argue, starts with the coach, starts with the head coach. I played college football. I can tell you this. Nobody impacts your life when you are a college football player, maybe outside of like your parents, than the head coach. They decide when you're waking up. They decide what nights you're going to sleep early. They decide how much practice time you have, how much nutrition advice you're getting, how much weight you gain or lose, because if you go above or below a target weight, they'll be making sure you get within that target weight. Like, they control everything. So then the question becomes, all right, now we've established the stakes. Now we know we have to win this hire or else we can't predict or control the success of the program moving forward and the status of the program nationally. Who are you looking for? I hope they've cast a wide net in a. And this is Bubba Cunningham. This is everyone in that inner circle. They've cast a wide net in their brain, and they've already zeroed in on a handful of names that they're out there likely contacting already, because this news has been public for now like 7 hours. John Sumrall at Tulane, which would actually kind of, in a weird way, be honoring Mac Brown on the way out, because first time they hired Mac Brown, they brought him over from Tulane.
That's right. So
it's like, hey, I know we just fired you, but we like the way you worked out so well. We're going to go right back to the well that we found you. Garrett Riley, Clemson offensive coordinator, I think he could play into the cool factor of UNC, get that offense flying around. Barry Odom, who's the head coach at UNLV, has been mentioned. These are just like, can you get a call with Shane Beamer, South Carolina? I'm a big fan of Shane Beamer. Can you get him on the line in a, hey, if anyone tells you, or if you tell anyone that I took this call, I'll deny it to my deathbed style call, just to see if there is something there. I know he's getting SEC money, but he's an ACC guy. His dad, Virginia Tech. Might be a Big East guy, but hey.
That's why coaches have agents.
That's why coaches have agents. Arthur Smith, Steelers OC, former Falcons head coach. Maybe doesn't have the best like street cred in the world right now for his but Steelers are what, 8-2, 9-2, something like that, 8-3. And he is a UNC grad and a former graduate assistant at UNC.
Lions offensive coordinator Ben Johnson played at UNC, and he's from Asheville.
I'd make a call, and I would expect to be hung up on. I think he's going to have his pick of NFL head coaching jobs. Jeff Saturday, UNC, former offensive lineman, center, went on to a long and prosperous Pro Bowl multiple times over career in the NFL, has a short stint, cup of coffee as the head coach of the Colts a couple years ago. That's kind of going the offensive line UNC version of Deion Sanders, right? Getting the former player who brings some name buzz, maybe not the coaching resume, but can hire good assistants and fundraise like crazy. All I know is this: you better get it right. All I know is this: more importantly, if you get it wrong, the future of your program becomes in jeopardy.
I think this hire needs to make sure that there isn't the apathy from UNC fans towards football like we saw this season.
Buzz. That's kind of what I call buzz. Attention, whatever you want to. Yeah.
Because I remember going right back to the first home game. They played UNC Charlotte. I know it's not the biggest name, but when you're playing Charlotte at home and it was a noon kickoff, beautiful day, you're 1-0 because you just beaten Minnesota. And then I remember being at that game covering, I went, this place is maybe 60% full. And there was, I felt like there was no buzz going into the game. Like, it's a home opener for a season.
Home opener for a season, and you had just beaten a Big Ten team on the road. Wasn't the prettiest win in the world, but it's a win over Minnesota on the road. 1917 overcame weather and a starting quarterback injury.
Yeah, and it's not like you had a basketball game that you had to compete with or anything like that. Like, it was your day. It was a Saturday. It was a beautiful day. And I was like, wow, the level of apathy already from Carolina fans. I was like, red flag.
This is interesting. Pat Welter, WRAL, sports reporter, which is under our Capital Broadcasting Company kind of umbrella, just to put it on Front Street. He's tweeted this out as of a little less than an hour ago. According to a source, there is support from people at UNC to promote tight ends coach Freddie Kitchens to head coach, but it's not believed he'll be strongly considered. Steelers OC and former UNC guard Arthur Smith is a name being rumored. This is the part that I think is interesting. Pat follows up that tweet with, a source told me they believe the decision has already been made on who the next football coach at UNC will be, and it could be announced as soon as Sunday. Pat Welter, again, WRAL reporting, there is growing sentiment among major donors, Rams Club, and the Board of Trustees that the head coach isn't the problem at UNC. They were slow to adjust in the NIL era and won't compete for 10 wins in a playoff spot unless other changes are made in the athletic program. Now, that's the reporting by Pat Welter. I will quickly just read between the lines a little bit. To me, that means it's somebody coming from a program that has done better with the NIL that can come in and say, this is how we did it. This is a position we need to create. This is a event that we threw, whatever it is, because we got to raise some cash. Either way, this UNC football hire, which may already be decided behind closed doors, is the most important coaching hire in UNC athletics history. Thesis, I believe, defended.